I haven't slept properly in 3 weeks. Every time I close my eyes, I see her standing there in the darkness, staring at me with those dead black eyes. My friends tell me it was just fear, just my imagination running wild in the dark. But I know what I saw. I know what touched me. And I know she's not finished with me yet. It started when my buddy Jake told us about what happened to those 5 kids from Seattle. We were sitting around his apartment one Saturday night in November, drinking beer and killing time. Jake had just heard the story from his cousin, who works at a hospital up near the Canadian border. 5 college students, 3 girls and 2 guys, had driven out to an abandoned church in the mountains of northern Washington. St. Michael's Church, a place with a history so dark that even the locals won't talk about it. The church sits in complete isolation, nearly 2 hours north of Bellingham, deep in the Cascade Wilderness, where no one lives anymore. The roads leading to it are barely maintained, and cell service dies completely about 30 miles out. Back in 1987, the priest there, Father David Whitmore, went insane one winter night. He took his wife and 3 children into the church basement, murdered them one by one with an axe, then climbed up to the bell tower and hanged himself. The church was abandoned immediately. No one would go near it. The building just sat there, rotting into the forest. Those 5 kids thought it was all bullshit, Jake said, staring at his phone. They wanted to prove there was nothing to be scared of. They left on a Thursday night around midnight. When they came back Friday morning, they were fucked up. Completely fucked up. What happened to them? Marcus asked. One of the girls, Sarah Chen, she hasn't spoken a word since that night. Not one word. She just sits in her hospital room, staring at the wall. Won't eat unless they force her. The other 2 girls won't say what they saw, but they wake up screaming every night. And one of the guys, Kevin, he had a total psychotic break. Kept screaming about a woman in black who followed them home. Said she was standing in his bedroom every night, getting closer to his bed. The room went quiet. Outside, the wind rattled the windows. It was one of those bone, cold November nights where the temperature drops below 20 and everything freezes solid. That's just trauma response, Brian said, but his voice sounded uncertain. They probably freaked themselves out. Maybe, Jake said. But Sarah's roommate said something weird. She said that the night they got back, Sarah came into their dorm room and packed a bag. Wouldn't explain why. Just kept saying, "I have to go back. She's waiting for me." Her roommate called campus security, and when they got there, Sarah was standing at the window, staring out into the dark. She told them, "She's already here. She followed us home." I felt something cold crawl down my spine. Did she go back? They put her in psychiatric hold before she could. She's been there ever since. But here's the fucked up part. 2 nights ago, Kevin was found dead in his locked hospital room, hanged himself with a bedsheet, and on the wall next to his body, he'd scratched the same words over and over with his fingernails. "C wants me BCK. Hence me. Seshi wants me BK." Nobody said anything for a long moment. Then Marcus laughed. It sounded forced. "Come on, that's bullshit. You're making that up." "I'm not," Jake said quietly. "My cousin sent me the police report. I can show you." "I don't believe in ghosts," Brian said, but he didn't sound convinced. That's when I made the stupidest decision of my life. "Let's go see for ourselves." Everyone looked at me. "I'm serious," I said. The beer had made me brave, made me stupid. "It's just an old building. If those kids got scared, it's because they psyched themselves out. Let's drive up there tomorrow night, walk around, take some pictures, and prove there's nothing there." "That's insane," Marcus said. "Why? You scared?" That did it. Male pride is a dangerous thing. 20 minutes later, we'd all agreed. We'd leave Sunday night at midnight, drive up to St. Michael's Church, and be back by dawn. Jake had a brand new BMW X5 with all-wheel drive, perfect for mountain roads. The next day, Sunday, I couldn't shake this feeling of dread. It sat in my stomach like a stone, getting heavier as the day went on. I almost called it off 3 times. But every time I thought about backing out, I imagined the guys calling me a coward, and I kept my mouth shut. We left Jake's apartment at 11:45 p.m. The temperature had dropped to 15 degrees. The roads were slick with black ice, and a freezing fog had rolled in from the mountains. We took Interstate 5 north out of Seattle, then transitioned to smaller highways, then to back roads that got narrower and rougher as we climbed into the Cascades. The conversation was loud at first. We joked around, played music, tried to keep the mood light. But as we drove further into the wilderness, everyone got quieter. The fog got thicker. The trees pressed in closer. And then, about 90 minutes in, all 4 of our phones lost service at the exact same moment. "No signal," I said, checking my screen. "Same," Marcus said from the back seat. "It's the mountains," Jake said, but his knuckles were white on the steering wheel. The turnoff came up suddenly, a narrow dirt road with no sign, barely visible through the fog. Jake almost missed it. He hit the brakes and turned, and the BMW lurched onto the rough track. Immediately, the ride got brutal. The road was full of potholes and exposed roots. Tree branches scraped against the windows with sounds like fingernails on glass. "How much further?" Brian asked. "GPS says about 4 miles, Jake said. But the GPS stopped working a minute ago. That's when we saw them. 2 massive stone pillars, rising out of the fog like the legs of some ancient giant. They had to be 25 feet tall, covered in dead moss and carved with symbols that looked like they came from no alphabet I'd ever seen. There was something wrong about them. Something that made my skin crawl. "Stop the car," Marcus said suddenly. "What?" "Stop the fucking car. Jake, don't drive through those." Jake stopped about 10 feet from the pillars. We all stared at them through the windshield. "Those are just old boundary markers," Jake said, but he made no move to drive forward. "There's a legend about these," Brian said slowly. His face had gone pale. "I remember reading about them online. They say if you drive a car between them at night, the car's engine will die, and it won't start again until something lets you leave." "That's superstitious bullshit," Jake said. "Then drive through them," Marcus challenged. Jake sat there for a long moment. Then he put the car in gear and drove forward. The moment we passed between the pillars, the engine coughed. Just once. But it kept running. "See," Jake said. "Nothing." But his voice was shaking. The church appeared out of the fog like a nightmare. It was smaller than I'd imagined, a simple wooden structure with a bell tower that leaned at a sickening angle. Every window was broken. The front door hung open on rusted hinges, and beyond it was only darkness. The graveyard surrounded the church, crooked headstones covered in dead ivy and moss, some toppled over, others cracked in half. Jake parked about 20 feet from the entrance. He killed the engine and the headlights. For a moment, we sat in complete darkness. Then our eyes adjusted, and we could see by the faint moonlight filtering through the fog. "Well," Jake said, "here we are." Nobody moved. The wind had picked up, and we could hear it moaning through the church's broken windows. It sounded like voices, like dozens of voices, all whispering words we couldn't quite make out. "I don't want to get out," Marcus said quietly. "We drove 2 hours to get here," I said, trying to sound braver than I felt. "Let's at least look around." I opened my door. The cold hit me like a hammer, so intense it burned my lungs. The 4 of us climbed out, our breath forming thick clouds in the freezing air. We turned on our phone flashlights, and the beams cut weak, pathetic circles in the darkness. The graveyard was a nightmare. The headstones were so old that most of the names had worn away, but I found Father Whitmore's grave near the church entrance. And next to it, 4 smaller graves, his wife and children. Someone had painted something across the father's headstone, but it had faded to almost nothing. I could barely make out the words IVC. Guys, Brian said, his voice tight with fear. Do you hear that? We all stopped moving. And then I heard it. Footsteps. Slow, heavy footsteps coming from inside the church, walking from the back of the building toward the open front door. It's just the wood settling, Jake whispered. The footsteps stopped. Right at the doorway, in the darkness beyond that open door, something was standing there, watching us. Get back to the car, Marcus said. Right now. Get back to the fucking car. We ran. We scrambled back to the BMW, yanked open the doors, and dove inside. Jake jammed the key into the ignition and turned it. Nothing. He turned it again. The engine turned over but wouldn't catch. Just that awful grinding sound. No, Jake whispered. No, please. He tried again. Nothing. The BMW was completely dead. We're between the pillars, Brian said. His voice had gone flat, emotionless. The car won't start. We're trapped here.
It's not real,
Jake screamed, cranking the ignition over and over. Nothing. It's just a dead battery or... It's a brand new car, Jake, I said quietly. We sat there in the dark, our breath fogging up the windows. And then we heard it. From somewhere in the forest behind the church, a woman started screaming. A high, agonized scream that went on and on and on. Then another voice joined it, and another. Soon the woods were filled with screaming, men, women, children, all screaming in terror and pain.
Lock the doors,
Marcus yelled. We hit the locks. The screaming got louder, closer, until it felt like it was coming from right outside the car. I pressed my hands over my ears, but it didn't help. The sound seemed to bypass my ears entirely and go straight into my skull. And then, as suddenly as it started, it stopped. The silence that followed was worse, because in that silence, we could hear breathing. Heavy, wet breathing, right outside the car. Don't look, Brian whispered. Whatever you do, don't look outside. But I looked. I turned my head and looked out the passenger window. She was standing right there, a woman in a long black dress, her skin so pale it almost glowed in the darkness. Her hair hung in wet, black strings around her face. And her eyes, oh God, her eyes, they were completely black. No whites, no pupils, just two pools of absolute darkness. She was staring directly at me, with an expression of such pure hatred that my heart nearly stopped. And then she smiled, her lips pulled back to reveal teeth that were too long, too sharp. She raised one hand and pressed her palm against the window, right where my face was. I could see every detail of her hand, the skin mottled and rotting, the fingernails cracked and black, and where her palm touched the glass, frost spread outward in a spiderweb pattern. Start the car, I whispered. Jake, start the fucking car. Jake turned the key. The engine roared to life. Geo go, Geo go, we all screamed. Jake threw it in reverse and floored it. The BMW shot backward down the dirt road, fishtailing wildly. I looked back. The woman was still standing there, watching us go, that terrible smile on her face. And then she was gone, just vanished like she'd never been there. The moment we crossed back through the stone pillars, every light in the BMW turned on at once. Headlights, interior lights, dashboard lights, all blazing so bright it hurt. The radio blasted on at full volume, playing static. Jake screamed and slammed on the brakes. We sat there, gasping, as the lights flickered and the radio died. What the fuck was that? Marcus yelled. Nobody answered. Jake put the car in drive and we tore down that dirt road. We didn't stop until we hit the highway. Even then, we kept driving. We didn't speak. We didn't look at each other. We just drove. We finally pulled into a 24-hour diner just outside Bellingham. It was almost 4 a.m. We stumbled inside and collapsed into a booth. The fluorescent lights felt like salvation. The tired waitress brought us coffee, and we sat there, shaking, trying to process what had just happened. What did you see? Marcus asked me. He was staring at me with a strange expression. What do you mean? When we were at the car, Before it started, you got out. My blood went cold. No, I didn't. I stayed in the car with you guys. Dude, Brian said slowly. You opened your door and got out. We were screaming at you to get back in, but you didn't respond. You walked toward the church. We watched you walk right up to that open door. That's not. I stopped. Because something was coming back. A memory that didn't feel like mine. Walking toward that door, stepping inside, descending stairs into complete darkness, and her voice echoing up from the basement. Come down. Come to me. I've been waiting so long. I don't remember that, I whispered. Marcus had to get out and physically drag you back to the car, Jake said. His hands were shaking so badly, he could barely hold his coffee cup. You were talking to someone. We couldn't hear what you were saying, but your lips were moving, and you were smiling. I felt sick. How long was I out there? Maybe 2 minutes. It felt like forever. And the whole time, you were staring into that doorway like you were having a conversation with someone. We sat in silence for a long time. We never talk about this again, Jake finally said. We tell no one. We pretend it never happened. Agreed. We all agreed. But it didn't end there. Marcus moved to California 2 weeks later. He left without saying goodbye, without explanation. He blocked all our numbers. Brian started having nightmares. He'd wake up screaming, saying he could see her standing at the foot of his bed. Last week, he checked himself into a psychiatric facility. Jake sold the BMW. He said he couldn't stand to be in it anymore. He said that sometimes, late at night, he'd hear breathing coming from the back seat. He'd look in the rearview mirror and see someone sitting there, a woman in black. And when he'd turn around, there'd be nothing, just an empty seat, and me. I hear her voice every night, always the same thing, whispered directly into my ear even though I'm alone. You came into my house. You walked through my door. You're mine now. 3 nights ago, I woke up at 3 a.m. to find muddy footprints on my bedroom floor. They led from my door to my bed. The mud was dark, almost black. I touched it, and it was ice cold. It smelled like grave dirt. 2 nights ago, I found a photograph slipped under my apartment door. In it, 4 people stand in front of St. Michael's Church. I recognize Jake, Marcus, and Brian. The 4th person has his back to the camera, but I know it's me. And behind us, barely visible in the darkness of the open church door, is a woman in black. Her hand is reaching out toward me. I don't remember anyone taking that photograph. Last night was the worst. I woke up because I felt something touching my face. I opened my eyes and she was there, standing over my bed, her face inches from mine. Those black eyes staring into me. Her breath on my face, smelling like rotting meat and old earth. She reached out and touched my cheek with one cold, rotting finger. Soon, she whispered. Her voice sounded like wind through dead trees. Very soon, you'll come back to me. You'll walk down those stairs. You'll come into the dark. And this time, you'll stay. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. I tried to move, but my body wouldn't respond. She leaned closer, her lips almost touching my ear. I've been alone for so long, she whispered, since 1987. Since he brought them to me, his wife, his children, he gave them to me, and then he gave himself. But it's never enough. It's never enough. I need more. I need you. When I finally managed to move, she was gone. But on my pillow was a small object, a child's tooth, old and yellowed. I know what's happening. I know what she wants. Part of me never left that church. Part of me walked down those basement stairs and never came back up. And now she's coming to collect the rest. The voice is getting louder. Every night she's closer. This morning, I looked in the bathroom mirror and saw something standing behind me. When I turned around, there was nothing there. But in the mirror, she was still there, smiling. I tried to call Jake today. His number's been disconnected. I called his work and they said he quit 3 days ago. Nobody knows where he is. I'm writing this down because I need someone to know what happened. If you're reading this, Don't go looking for St. Michael's Church. Don't pass through those stone pillars. And if you hear a voice calling to you from the darkness, don't listen. Don't answer. Because once you do, you belong to her. And she always collects what's hers. It's 20:47 a.m. right now. I can hear footsteps in my hallway. Slow, heavy, getting closer to my door. The handle is turning. She's here.
Stay aware. Stay alert. Never blink.